and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros, and this is a little space I like to carve out to share different tips, tools, techniques, nuggets, stories, anecdotes, whatever I can to help myself, to help you, to help us individually and collectively move the needle, even if it's 1 degree at a time, to get us to new levels of healthy and happy, whatever that means for this time in our lives. During the month of June, I've been talking about different ways to deal with stress and really thinking outside of the box in terms of mastering our mindset so that when stressful moments happen, because they will, because that's life, right? When stressful moments happen, we are better equipped physically and mentally to handle that so that it doesn't overwhelm or overpower us, right? One of the things that I've been talking about in the videos all month is the 5 basic things that we have to do to take care of our bodies on a regular basis. And when we take care of our bodies, our physiology, then our bodies and our minds are better able, our psychology is better able to handle the stress when it comes along. Our human bodies keep score. They keep all the score. You're more likely to get sick from stress than you are from someone sneezing near you, right? Because your immune system is depleted. It's dealing with stress because most people aren't taking care of their basic human needs. So it's important and essential that we take care of our basic human needs. To recap quickly, drink more water. Your body needs it. Once you start dehydrating, your IQ also dips. So it's really important to make sure that you're drinking enough water to sustain your organs and your brain. Make sure that you're getting daily movement. Move your body every day. If it's a 10-minute walk, if it's putting on music, if it's taking a fitness class, whatever it is, move your body every day. It helps release the pent-up energy and it gives your body the mobility that it needs to help not just remove stuff, but to build strength, which again is necessary when we're dealing with stress. Get outside, get fresh air every day for at least 10 minutes if you can. Even if it's a cold day, bundle up, go clean off your car, or maybe, shovel the driveway if it's snowing, go for a quick walk the neighbor's dog. I don't care. Make sure that you're getting outside, getting some fresh air and getting some vitamin D. And don't worry if it's cloudy outside. You're still going to get some vitamin D even if it's cloudy because the sun's rays are really strong. You can also get your vitamin D from leafy greens. So eat your leafy greens, which brings me to the next one. Make sure that you're eating healthy foods that sustain a healthy body. And that doesn't mean that 100% of the time you need to be eating spinach and kale. That's silly. I want you to enjoy life. I eat chocolate every single day. Right? I just make sure that the majority of the food that I'm eating is food that is sustainable and it's going to help me keep a strong body and a strong mind because it affects our moods. The food we eat affects our moods. And then finally, get your butt to bed. Figure out what works for you in terms of sleep and get your shut-eye. And if you need help with that, reach out to someone who can help you with that, right? See a doctor, see a professional, because sleep is such an important part of recuperating and recharging the human body, resetting us. When we don't have enough sleep, again, our IQ is lower and our capacity to handle stress is almost diminished when we're underslept. So figure out what works for you. Some people can be super functional off of 5 or 6 hours, and that's more than enough for them. And some people need 8 or 9. That's me. That's my marker. And some people need more, right? Teenagers usually need 10 to 12 hours because there's so much happening in their bodies and their brains. So please don't look at your teenager like they're lazy because they're always sleeping. They literally need it. There's so much happening hormonally and mentally and so many changes that are going on that they require more sleep. So figure out what's best for you in terms of your sleep and then put your butt in bed on time. Okay. And then during the month of June, I talked about challenges and failures and recognizing that those are a regular part of our everyday lives. And the more that we adjust our mindset and kind of fine tune our mindset to recognize that they're going to happen, the less likely we are to freak out when they do happen because we're like, I was expecting you. And then we can use them as opportunities to learn, to grow, to use our experiences, to use our education, to use our skill sets, to use our communities. Right? The second week, I talked about making sure that we recognize that our choices should come from a place that feels like alignment for us. I have my core values, and I try to make sure that my choices are always in alignment with my core values. And so it feels like peace. This is who I am, and this is who I want to be, and this is the life I want to create. So my choices should align with that. And that's not always necessarily what's the right choice, because other people have a lot to say about what's the right or wrong choice based on what best serves them, based on the status quo, based on old programming. And that might not be in alignment with who I am. So I'm not always looking to make the right choice. in that sense, but I am always looking to make the most peaceful choice. And then when I make a choice, my job is to practice as much as possible going all in on that choice, whatever it is, as quickly as possible, and trying not to be double-minded so that I'm reducing my own stress, right? That's the choice I made, I'm gonna go all in. And if it blows up in my face, it's gonna blow up quickly so then I can learn, recalibrate, and make a different choice next time. And if it works out, then it reinforces my ability to make good choices for myself, which then next time I'm making a faster, better choice and faster, healthier choice. In fact, right? Okay. And then last week I talked about community and how it is really essential that we utilize our communities because we're not meant to do it alone. I don't have all the strengths. I can't do all the things, and I shouldn't have to. Because one, that's not realistic, and two, it's exhausting. So I'm going to be able to use my community. It is specifically hard for me to ask for help. So I have been working on asking for help, and I find that when I do ask for help, people are not only more than willing to help me, but they're also like, finally, right? Like, you're human. So it's nice because when people ask me for help and it's in my skill set, it reinforces my skill set. It gives me an opportunity to practice. So, right, use your community and use that as an opportunity and a way to combat stress. So today, I want to talk about the power of celebration. We tend to wait until a really big moment to celebrate ourselves. And I'm going to challenge that and recommend that you celebrate all the little moments that lead up to the big moment. Because if you're not in a space that you practice celebrating yourself, when you get to the big moment, it fizzles out really quickly and you feel like, whatever, on to the next thing. And there's not enough pause to really honor the moment and honor what you did and honor the step you took or the multitudes of steps you took. So that when you get to the big moment, you're really in awareness of all the things that it took to get there. And then that does feel like a bigger moment, but it's only because you've been honoring the small moments all along. No matter what it is, that big moment, there were a bunch of small moments that helped get you there. And rather than look at them as stressful moments, look at them as steps in order to get to the big moment. And if we're celebrating those steps along the way, we're more likely to increase our dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, which are happy hormones in our body. Celebrating the small steps along the way reduces cortisol, which gives us more clarity in our mind, right? So then we can think more clearly. And when I do something knowing I'm going to celebrate myself after, it doesn't feel like stress to do the thing because it's going to be a small reward after. And the small reward for me is usually a high five, or maybe I'll do a little dance. Or maybe I'll say, after I do this 10 times, I'm going to go, I don't know, get a manicure or something, right? Whatever that is for you, we get to decide. And then each time I put a little tally, I'm like, yeah, Maria, almost 9 more, and then we'll go get a manicure. And it sounds silly to some people, but I have a life that is filled with joy. I have a life that's filled with fun. I have a life that's filled with mental clarity. And a lot of people are waiting for the big moments and to prove something before they'll celebrate themselves. And I used to do that, and it was exhausting, and I'm over it. So studies have shown that people who consistently celebrate the little things in their lives have reported that they are happier and have more fulfillment. When they're measuring their fulfillment when they're self-assessing and measuring their fulfillment on a scale, they're over here near the 8, 9s, and 10s. And it's not because they own the fanciest cars or they make the most amount of money or, they have 1 million followers. It's because they're honoring the small moments. They're celebrating themselves along the way. They're celebrating each other, right? Like my daughter did her laundry. She did a little laundry and I was like, oh, you doing laundry? Yeah, girl. And we gave a little high five. And then she smiled and she walked away like she was recognized for this moment. And it gave her permission to recognize herself. I do the dishes and then I do a dance. I'm not kidding. I'm not a super fan of doing the dishes, but in my mind I say, this is something that I get to do. I don't have to do the dishes. I get to do the dishes. And in doing them, now I'm preparing clean things for the next time that we want to eat yummy food that either I or she cooks. So then I do a little dance and I feel really good about it because it's not something that I'm suffering through. I'm not causing myself additional stress. I'm recognizing this is an opportunity. Doing the dishes is a celebration. It's a celebration of abundance. It's a celebration that there's food in my house. It's a celebration that both I and my daughter can cook. It's a celebration that we have things to eat off of. And then afterwards I do a little dance and I'm like, yeah. So then our daily to-dos don't feel like chores. They feel like things that we get to do. I had a client and she felt like she was never getting anything done. There wasn't enough time in the day. She was a single mom of 3 kids. And so even though her kids were able to help out with some chores, they were younger. So the majority of the housework and all the moving parts fell on her, right? So one day I said to her, okay, here's what you're going to do for the next week until our next session. I want you to practice as much as possible celebrating the small moments. Give yourself a high five, do a little dance, whatever. She chose the high five. As the week went on, when we had our next session, she reported that as the week went on, she got better at celebrating the small moments. And by the end of the week, before we had our session, the day before, she had celebrated herself so many times during the course of a day that her hand was starting to turn red and get a little sore from how many times she high-fived herself for all the little things that she was doing to sustain their lives, to keep the cycle going, right? To feed them, to keep them alive, to get them to sports, to organize different appointments and things. She was doing all the things. And she said that it wasn't until her hand was throbbing that she's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so much all the time to keep us alive and to keep us functional and to keep us happy and to keep us in community. I'm doing it. And then when we got on our call, she was, I'm doing it. I'm doing all the things. So if on her other to-do list is small things that she works a full-time job and that she was trying to build a small business, if she's only doing one thing a day, she's doing one thing a day. And because she's celebrating along the way, she's reducing stress. So stay with me. Think of it as scales. If here's a stressful moment, and here's us not meeting our basic human needs, not recognizing that we have a choice, not honoring the fact that challenges and failures are part of life, not utilizing our community, and not celebrating, this thing will overpower and overtake us. But if we are taking care of ourselves, making sure that our bodies are taken care of and managed, and recognizing that failures and challenges are part of life and they provide opportunities to learn and grow, and we're making choices from a place that feels like peace and then going all in so we can learn very quickly what to do or what not to do, and then we're using our community to help us, and then we're celebrating along the way, and then the stressful moment comes in, which is the same moment that it was before. Because we're here and it's here, we can look at it and say, I got that. I can manage that, right? So keep in mind that it's a lot. It sounds like a lot, and it is a practice, and it is a process. So I would recommend pick one thing, just one thing to start, and just go in on that thing and let that become your continuous practice until it feels really normal. And then pick up another thing, and then let that become your continuous practice. Let people in your community or your friends or your kids or your family, let them join in if that's something that you want to do, or maybe you want to do it by yourself. I don't know what the relationships are, but don't feel like you have to do it alone. You can do it in community. And the more that you practice that, here's the stressful moment, and it is what it is, right? The more you practice that, the more you become stronger, more capable, more fulfilled, more satisfied, more happy, more at peace. And so when that stressful moment comes in, you are better able to combat it. And I would rather us, you, I, myself, be up here in practices and processes. So when the stress comes in, we're up here versus here, so that then it crushes us versus us taking it over and kind of transmuting and absorbing it, right? Hope that part made sense. So that's all I have for you. I hope that this was helpful. If you know someone who can benefit from it, please share it. If you haven't already, subscribed to my channel. And I am sending you so much light and love, and there's nothing you can do about it. I will see you next week. Peace.